Good evening. This is James EXUM coming to you from my studio in South Austin, Texas. It's Friday, August the 14th in the evening, and the time is approximately 10:25. Tonight, on a different channel, so to speak, on YouTube, I am presenting to you my premiere discourse number one, so to speak, uh, under the new title of The Witness to History, I being the witness, of course. And the title of this particular discourse is Americans Need to Pay Attention, by myself, copyrighted by myself, and so forth. This will be the very first one in what I hope to be a very long series. This is not the yoga philosophy, this is the witness to history. So let us begin. I'll allow my narrator on my word uh, program on my word program on my sorry about that. I just drew a blank there for a second. My word program on my computer to that narrator. He has a much better voice than mine to read this to you. It'll be maybe 15 minutes maximum. Here we go.
The Witness to History. Discourse 1. Americans need to pay attention. James H. EXUM. Austin, Texas. Copyrighted August 14th, 2026. All rights reserved. We can argue about politics, but we cannot argue with a flooded neighborhood, a burned out town, or a family that can no longer afford health insurance. The practical question is simple. How do we protect our homes, choose politicians that listen as representatives of the people, strengthen our communities, and make better choices for all Americans? James H. EXUM. Americans cannot afford to ignore what happens overseas. We do not need to live in fear, but we do need to stay informed. A strong nation needs citizens who understand that peace, trade, security, and leadership are all interconnected. James H. EXUM. This work is offered as the introduction for my second informative channel listed on YouTube. Its purpose is to continue the search for understanding, but from a new and timely direction, as the witnessing of history from a journalist standpoint. I wish to observe the events of our time with steadiness, stoical discipline, and concern for the good of humanity. This channel will concentrate on important up-to-date topics, not merely as news or opinion, but as matters that affect human conduct, public awareness, and the future we are shaping together. History is not only something we read about in schools. History is what we are living through right now. It shows up in the price of groceries, the cost of rent, the interest on our debts, increasing cost of energy bills, the safety of our children, the condition of our communities, and the way technology is changing our daily lives. For the average American, the big question is not just what is happening in the world. The real question is, how does this affect my family, my job, my health, my future, and my country? In this first discourse of the witness to history, there are three major things we need to watch closely. Conflict around the world is affecting life at home. The first major issue is global conflict. Wars, tensions between countries, and political instability may seem far away, but they affect ordinary Americans more than many people realize. When countries fight, supply chains are disrupted. That can raise the price of gas, food, medicine, electronics, and building materials. It can also affect retirement accounts, jobs, military families, and whether our sons and daughters may be called to serve in the next unnecessary and unending war. This is why Americans cannot afford to ignore what happens overseas. We do not need to live in fear, but we do need to stay informed. A strong nation needs citizens who understand that peace, trade, security, and leadership are all interconnected. Weather changes are hitting American household budgets. The second major issue is extreme weather changes. This is no longer just a political debate or a scientific report. It is showing up in real life through hotter summers, stronger storms, wildfires, flooding, droughts, and higher insurance costs. For many Americans, this means higher utility bills, damaged homes, rising food prices, and more concern about where it is safe and affordable to live. Farmers, truckers, construction workers, small business owners, homeowners, and renters all feel the effects. We can argue about politics, but we cannot argue with a flooded neighborhood, a burned out town, or a family that can no longer afford insurance. The practical question is simple. How do we protect our homes, choose politicians that listen as representatives of the people, strengthen our communities, and make better choices for all Americans? Artificial intelligence is changing work, truth, and everyday life. The third major issue is artificial intelligence. AI is already changing the workplace, schools, hospitals, customer service, banking, news, entertainment, and even how people apply for jobs. For the average American, AI can be helpful. It can save time, improve medical research, help small businesses, and make information easier to access. But it also raises serious concerns about job security, scams, misinformation, privacy, and whether people can still tell what is real. The issue is not whether AI is good or bad by itself. The issue is how people, companies, schools, and governments use it. Americans need to learn enough about AI to use it wisely, protect themselves, and make sure it serves people instead of replacing human judgment. These three issues, global conflict, climate and weather changes, and artificial intelligence, are not just headlines. They affect the cost of living, public safety, jobs, education, health care, retirement, and the kind of country we are leaving to our children. The answer is not panic. The answer is awareness. We need citizens who pay attention, ask better questions, vote with understanding, prepare their families, support their communities, and refuse to be divided by fear. So, let this be the first message from the witness to history. Do not look away. Pay attention to the world, because the world is already reaching into your home. Stay informed, stay grounded, and stay responsible. We cannot control everything happening in the world, but we can control how prepared, informed, and united we choose to be. Practical wisdom for a troubled age. After looking at conflict overseas, extreme weather, and artificial intelligence, the question becomes practical. How should an ordinary person respond without being overwhelmed? The answer is not withdrawal from life, but clearer attention, steadier conduct, and wiser choices in the middle of everyday responsibilities. This is where the logical standpoint can serve the larger message of the witness to history. It asks us to connect outer events with inner discipline, to notice how fear, anger, greed, confusion, and carelessness shape public life, and to answer them with responsibility, truthfulness, self-control, and useful action. Choose responsibility before division. For conflict at home and abroad, the first duty is to refuse the cheap satisfaction of hatred. A nation becomes weaker when people are trained to see neighbors, parties, religions, regions, or nations only as enemies. Strength begins when citizens can disagree firmly without surrendering decency. The practical solution is simple but demanding. Think before reacting, verify before repeating, and speak truth without cruelty. Americans must care about justice, security, and national strength, But they must also remember that public life collapses when anger becomes more important than conscience. Practice stewardship, not waste. For climate and extreme weather, the lesson is equally practical. Human life depends on air, water, food, soil, heat, shelter, and balance. When those conditions are impaired, the results appear in higher bills, damaged homes, unstable farms, strained cities, and anxious families. The practical solution is stewardship. Families can reduce waste, conserve energy, protect water, support local food systems, prepare for emergencies, and demand leadership that solves problems instead of hiding behind slogans. This is not panic or politics. It is responsibility toward the conditions that make life possible. Use technology with discernment. For artificial intelligence, the needed quality is discernment, the ability to tell the difference between what is useful and what is harmful, what is real and what is imitation, what serves human dignity and what weakens judgment. The real solution is not to reject technology, but to govern it wisely. Americans should learn the basics of AI, protect their privacy, question what they see online, teach children how to recognize deception, and insist that companies and leaders use technology in ways that protect human dignity. The machine may calculate faster than the person, but it cannot replace a human conscience. The inner discipline of better response. One useful discipline for this moment is learning to meet a harmful impulse with a better response. When fear rises, bring steadiness. When anger rises, bring restraint. When hopelessness rises, take useful action. When confusion rises, seek truth. This is not mere positive thinking. It is mental discipline. If the world is full of conflict, the citizen must not add more conflict with careless words. If the weather is unstable, the household must not add more waste. If technology is confusing, the mind must not become lazy. The solution begins with the person who learns to pause, see clearly, and choose the better response. Right action for the average American. Right action means doing what can be done with sincerity, skill, and responsibility without becoming paralyzed by fear over results beyond one person's control. A parent cannot control the whole economy, but can teach discipline at home. A worker cannot control every corporation, but can build useful skills. A citizen cannot control every world leader, but can vote, study, serve, and speak with integrity. The way forward is not escape from history. It is responsible action in the middle of life. Do your duty. Strengthen your mind. Serve your family. Protect your community. Seek truth. Reduce harm. Practice self-control. Lastly, do not let the noise of the world steal the clarity of your mind or the purity of your soul. In closing, I leave you with these few words. Be aware. Be fair. And check your facts so that you too may become a witness to history.
Well, there you have it, my very first video that I wrote and edited, heavily edited. I had to get away from the videos I've been doing, 110 of them so far, on the subject of yoga philosophy. And to do so, I had to separate myself, I suppose, from my alter ego, and that on the other channel, Yoga Philosophy, is called Sakshi, just like Mark Twain had his alter ego as Mark Twain from Samuel Clemens. It's not unusual for writers to do that. So there it is. I hope you enjoyed it. I consider it full of good, earthly, logical advice. And if you enjoyed it, tell your friends about it. If you didn't, that's okay too. But come back and see my future ones. I, I am gifted with an abundance of ideas. The old saying is, it's a fountainhead. I have a fountainhead of ideas. A fountainhead is where it's a supply to the water fountain out in a garden. There's got to be a pressure supply, a supply under pressure that feeds that public fountain. And somewhere down in my subconscious is just it's a reservoir, a large, large lake of ideas that have not been worked through yet, edited, totally written in a polished form, using videography to produce what's uploaded to YouTube and so forth. But they are coming, so don't judge this one as the apex of my work. There will be good, bad, and ugly ones, I can assure you, because that's just the way of life when you're a writer. So I'll close now, and thank you again. Tell your friends and family, like I said, if you get a chance, and if you get a chance, come back and support this channel. I truly appreciate you dropping by. So I'll say good night to you, and thank you so, so much.